Let's start the book. You Are a Badass. Introduction. Unleash your inner greatness today. Have you ever felt a nagging suspicion that you are meant for a much bigger, more vibrant life? You Are a Badass by Sincero is the ultimate wake-up call for anyone tired of settling for mediocrity. This phenomenal guide dives deep into the psychological blocks that keep us playing small and offers a hilarious, no-nonsense approach to breaking free. By blending practical exercises with profound spiritual wisdom, Sincero provides a roadmap to completely transform your reality. You will learn how to silence your inner critic, master the energy of the universe, and boldly claim the success you deserve. It is time to stop doubting your greatness and start living an extraordinary existence. Dive into these insights and let your true power shine. Point 1. Wake up to your true potential. We all reach a breaking point where the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of changing. That pivotal moment is exactly where true transformation begins. For a very long time, you might find yourself navigating life on autopilot, accepting a reality that feels lukewarm at best. You go to a job that drains your energy, engage in relationships that do not fully support your growth, and look at your bank account with a familiar sense of anxiety. We often convince ourselves that this is just the way life is supposed to be. We look around, see other people struggling, and decide that wanting more is greedy, unrealistic, or simply impossible for someone with our background. But deep down, beneath the layers of societal conditioning and daily routines, a quiet voice whispers that you are capable of so much more. This is the foundational premise of Sincero's philosophy. You are inherently powerful, and your current circumstances are entirely changeable if you are willing to wake up and take responsibility for them. The journey to an extraordinary life does not begin with a magical windfall or a sudden stroke of luck. It begins with a radical, uncompromising decision. There is a profound difference between simply wanting your life to change and actively deciding to change it. Wanting is passive. You can want to lose weight, want to start a business, or want to find a fulfilling relationship while sitting on the couch, eating potato chips, and complaining about your circumstances. Deciding, on the other hand, requires a shift in identity. When you decide to change, you eliminate all other options. You burn the boats. You stop making excuses about why things are too hard, why you do not have enough time, or why the economy is to blame for your lack of progress. Making a true decision means you are willing to do whatever it takes, even when it feels incredibly uncomfortable or downright terrifying. Consider the author's own story. Before becoming a best-selling author and a highly successful coach, Sincero lived in a converted garage. She spent her days scraping by, counting pennies at the grocery store, and wondering why success seemed to flow to everyone else but her. She considered herself a smart, capable person, yet her reality reflected constant struggle. The turning point occurred when she finally got sick and tired of her own complaining. She realized that she was the common denominator in all of her failures. The economy had not singled her out. Her parents were not to blame for her current adult choices. The universe was not conspiring against her. She was simply operating out of a set of limiting beliefs and refusing to step outside of her comfort zone. Once she accepted total responsibility for her life, the invisible chains holding her back began to snap. Taking responsibility can be a bitter pill to swallow because it means we can no longer play the victim. The victim mentality is surprisingly seductive. It provides a warm, comfortable blanket of excuses. If everything is someone else's fault, we do not have to do the hard work of changing ourselves. We get to gather sympathy from our friends, bond over shared miseries at the water cooler, and stay safely inside our familiar bubbles. But the cost of this comfort is our potential. To break free, we must drop the victim narrative entirely. You must look at every area of your life that you are dissatisfied with and boldly state, I created this, which means I have the power to uncreate it. This realization is both terrifying and immensely liberating. As you begin to wake up to your true potential, you will inevitably encounter resistance. Stepping into a new version of yourself requires shedding the old one, and the old version of you will not go down without a fight. You will face moments of intense doubt. You will question whether you are crazy for dreaming so big. Friends and family members might look at you strangely or try to talk you out of your new ambitions, often because your growth triggers their own insecurities about staying stagnant. This is where your commitment is truly tested. You have to cultivate a vision for your life that is so compelling, so vibrant, and so exciting that it pulls you forward through the inevitable obstacles. To anchor this new reality, you must start paying close attention to your daily habits and the environments you place yourself in. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, and the conversations you engage in all serve as the soil in which your new mindset will either wither or bloom. If you want to be a badass, you have to start acting like one long before the results show up. You must walk with purpose, speak with conviction, and treat your dreams with the utmost respect. Waking up is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice of choosing growth over comfort, courage over fear, and action over apathy. The moment you fully commit to this path, the universe begins to align in your favor, opening doors you never even knew existed. Point 2. Stop listening to the big snooze. Hidden deep within your mind is a powerful, invisible force designed to keep you exactly where you are. Unmasking this saboteur is the first crucial step to reclaiming your life. Sincero playfully refers to this internal antagonist as the big snooze, a fitting term for the ego or the subconscious mind that desperately wants to keep you asleep in your comfort zone. To truly understand why we self-sabotage, why we procrastinate, and why we suddenly feel overwhelmed just as we are about to achieve a breakthrough, we have to examine the fascinating and sometimes frustrating mechanics of our own minds. Our minds are essentially divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is the logical, analytical part of you that sets goals. It is the part that says, I am going to start a business, or I am going to eat healthier starting today. However, the subconscious mind is the massive hidden database beneath the surface. It is the emotional and deeply ingrained operating system that controls the vast majority of our behaviors, reactions, and beliefs. The catch is that our subconscious programming was largely written before we even had the ability to think critically. From the time we are born until we are about 7 years old, our brains are essentially sponges, absorbing every belief, fear, and attitude from our parents, teachers, and society. If you grew up in a household where money was a constant source of stress, and you frequently heard phrases like, money does not grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, your subconscious mind recorded those statements as absolute truths. Decades later, your conscious mind might desperately want financial freedom, but your subconscious mind believes that acquiring wealth is inherently bad or dangerous. Because the subconscious mind is infinitely more powerful than the conscious mind, it will always win the tug of war. This is the big snooze in action. It creates self-imposed glass ceilings in our careers, our relationships, and our personal growth. It convinces us that we are protecting ourselves, when in reality, we are just suffocating our potential. The primary directive of the big snooze is survival. And to the subconscious mind, survival means keeping things exactly as they are. Familiarity feels safe, even if that familiarity is painful, toxic, or unfulfilling. When you decide to make a significant change, like writing a book, leaving a secure but soul-crushing job, or ending a bad relationship, the big snooze perceives this change as a mortal threat. It will immediately deploy an arsenal of tactics to pull you back into your comfort zone. The big snooze operates through fear, self-doubt, anxiety, and deeply convincing rationalizations. It will tell you that you are not smart enough, that you do not have enough experience, or that people will laugh at you. Sometimes the big snooze is subtle. It manifests as procrastination. You sit down to work on your dream project and suddenly you feel an overwhelming urge to clean your kitchen, check your email, or scroll through social media. You convince yourself that you are just being productive in other ways, but in truth, you are actively avoiding the discomfort of growth. At other times, the big snooze can manifest as physical symptoms. Have you ever noticed how you might suddenly get a cold right before a major presentation, or your car mysteriously breaks down on the way to a life-changing interview? While some of this is coincidence, much of it is the sheer energetic resistance of your ego fighting tooth and nail to maintain the status quo. Defeating the big snooze requires a high level of self-awareness. You cannot fight an enemy you do not acknowledge. The goal is not to hate your ego or to violently suppress it. The goal is to observe it objectively. When you hear that inner voice telling you that your ideas are stupid or that you are going to fail, you must learn to detach from it. Treat that voice like a fearful inner child or an overprotective friend who is giving you terrible advice. You must develop the ability to say thank you for sharing your concern, but we are going to do this anyway. By bringing your subconscious fears into the light of conscious awareness, they immediately lose their power over you. Reprogramming these deeply ingrained beliefs takes time and repetition. You are essentially rewiring decades of mental habits. This is where the power of conscious repetition comes into play. You have to actively feed your mind new, empowering beliefs to replace the outdated programming of the big snooze. If your old belief was, I am terrible at making money, you must consciously practice the belief that I am a magnet for financial abundance. At first, your big snooze will rebel against these new thoughts. It will call you a liar. It will make you feel ridiculous. But if you persist, the new beliefs will eventually take root. You will start to notice small shifts in your behavior, a newfound sense of confidence, and an increased willingness to take risks. Waking up from the big snooze is an ongoing process of choosing your conscious desires over your subconscious fears every single day. Point 3, fall insanely in love with yourself. The most monumental relationship you will ever cultivate is the one you have with yourself. If you do not fiercely love who you are, the rest of your life will reflect that lack. Society often conditions us to view self-love as arrogant, selfish, or narcissistic. We are taught to be humble, to downplay our achievements, and to put everyone else's needs before our own. But Jen Sincero argues that radical self-love is the absolute foundation of a badass life. When you do not value yourself, you tolerate toxic relationships, you accept less money than you are worth, and you constantly seek external validation to fill an internal void. True self-love is not about believing you are better than everyone else. It is about recognizing your own inherent worth and refusing to settle for anything less than a life that honors that worth. One of the most tragic habits we develop as humans is the normalization of self-deprecation. Listen closely to how people talk about themselves in everyday conversations. We routinely make jokes about our weight, our intelligence, our clumsiness, or our inability to succeed. We brush off compliments by pointing out our flaws. If someone says, "You look great today," the automatic response is often, "Oh, this old thing? I look so tired and I need to lose 10 pounds." We think we are just being modest or funny, but the subconscious mind does not understand sarcasm. Every time you insult yourself, even in jest, you are reinforcing a deeply negative self-image. If you spoke to your best friends the way you speak to yourself, you would likely have no friends left. To fall insanely in love with yourself, you must radically overhaul your internal dialogue. This is where affirmations come into play. Many people cringe at the idea of affirmations. The thought of standing in front of a mirror, looking into your own eyes and saying, "I am a brilliant, beautiful, and powerful creator," feels incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable because it directly contradicts the negative stories you have been telling yourself for years. But affirmations work precisely because they interrupt those old neural pathways. You have to be willing to push through the initial awkwardness and aggressively brainwash yourself with positivity. You are already brainwashing yourself every day with negative thoughts. You might as well take control of the process and brainwash yourself with thoughts that actually serve you. Another crucial aspect of self love is learning to stop caring so intensely about what other people think of you. The fear of judgment is one of the greatest dream killers in human history. We constantly police our own behavior, dress a certain way, pursue specific careers, and bite our tongues because we are terrified of being criticized or rejected by the tribe. But here is the liberating truth. What other people think of you has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. When someone criticizes you, they are simply projecting their own insecurities, limitations, and worldview onto you. If you allow the opinions of others to dictate your choices, you are essentially handing over the remote control of your life to people who are likely just as confused and scared as you are. Living as your authentic self requires immense courage. It means giving yourself permission to be loud, to be weird, to be quiet, to change your mind, and to pursue passions that others might find ridiculous. It involves setting strict boundaries to protect your energy and your time. Self love means having the strength to walk away from people, jobs, and situations that drain your spirit without feeling guilty about it. It means forgiving yourself for your past mistakes, recognizing that you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. Holding on to guilt and shame is a form of self-punishment that keeps your energy low and prevents you from moving forward. Practicing self-love also involves treating your physical body with profound respect. Your body is the only vehicle you have to navigate this physical reality. If you are constantly feeding it junk, depriving it of sleep, and treating it like a dumping ground for stress, you are sending a clear message to the universe that you do not value yourself. Cultivating physical vitality through movement, rest, and nourishment is a deeply spiritual practice of self-worth. It is about celebrating what your body can do rather than punishing it for not looking a certain way. Ultimately, when you fall insanely in love with yourself, your entire external reality shifts to match your internal state. You stop tolerating bad behavior from others because you know you deserve better. You start taking bigger risks because you know that even if you fail, your core worth remains intact. You become a magnet for positive experiences, loving relationships, and abundant opportunities because you are finally broadcasting a frequency of high value. Loving yourself is the most powerful mechanism for personal transformation. It is the key that unlocks every single door you have been trying to force open. Point 4. Tap into the universe's infinite energy. Everything around us is vibrating with energy, and mastering this invisible frequency is the secret to attracting what you desire. You are a human transmission tower constantly broadcasting your beliefs into the cosmos. While this might sound like mystical jargon reserved for spiritual gurus sitting on mountaintops, it is actually a highly practical concept rooted in the basic principles of quantum physics. Sincero explains that the universe is not an empty void. It is a massive, swirling ocean of energy. Every physical object, every thought, and every emotion has its own specific vibrational frequency. The fundamental law of this energetic universe is the law of attraction. Like attracts like. In order to bring something into your physical reality, you must first match its energetic frequency. To understand how this works, consider how a radio dial functions. If you want to listen to a classic rock station that broadcasts on 98.7 FM, you have to tune your radio receiver exactly to 98.7. If your dial is set to 104.2, you will never hear the classic rock music no matter how hard you wish for it, pray for it, or complain about not hearing it. The music is already there, broadcasting perfectly in the air around you, but you cannot experience it because you are not a vibrational match to it. Your life works in the exact same way. The wealth, the perfect partner, the dream job, and the vibrant health you desire already exists in the quantum field of possibilities. But if you are vibrating at the frequency of fear, lack, desperation, or unworthiness, you cannot intercept the frequency of abundance and joy. Our emotions are the most accurate indicators of our energetic frequency. High-frequency emotions include love, gratitude, joy, excitement, and peace. When you operate from these states, you feel expansive, light, and deeply connected to the world around you. This is when you experience synchronicity, those magical moments when the right person calls you at the exact right time or an unexpected opportunity falls effortlessly into your lap. Low frequency emotions, on the other hand, include anger, jealousy, guilt, shame, and fear. When you are steeped in these emotions, you feel contracted, heavy, and disconnected. Operating from a low frequency acts as a powerful repellent, pushing away the very things you are desperately trying to attract. One of the greatest traps we fall into is the belief that we will finally feel happy and abundant once we get the things we want. We say to ourselves, I will be happy when I get the promotion, or I will feel secure when I have $1 million in the bank. This is entirely backward according to the laws of the universe. You have to generate the feeling of abundance first, and then the physical manifestation will follow. You must learn to feel wealthy while you are still broke. You must learn to feel deeply loved while you are still single. This requires engaging the power of your imagination and deliberately focusing your attention on what is going right in your life rather than what is going wrong. Gratitude is arguably the most powerful tool you have to instantly elevate your frequency. It is impossible to feel genuine gratitude and deep anxiety at the exact same moment. When you focus on the things you are thankful for, even if it is just the fact that you have clean water to drink, a comfortable bed to sleep in, or air in your lungs, you immediately shift from a mindset of lack to a mindset of plenty. Cultivating a daily gratitude practice is not just a nice, polite thing to do. It is a strategic, energetic maneuver to align yourself with the receiving frequency of the universe. Tapping into this infinite energy also requires developing a relationship with what Sincero calls source energy, which you can call God, the universe, spirit, or simply the quantum field. It involves trusting that there is a benevolent force larger than yourself that is actively conspiring in your favor. When you try to micromanage every detail of your life, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that your knuckles turn white, you block the flow of this energy. You limit the universe to your own conscious, logical capabilities, which are vastly inferior to the infinite possibilities of source energy. Letting go of this tight control and trusting the flow requires profound faith. It means believing in the unseen and maintaining a state of joyous expectation, knowing that what is meant for you is already making its way to you. Point 5. Forgive, let go, and move forward. Carrying around old resentments is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. True freedom requires completely dropping the heavy bags of past grievances. We all have a story of how we were wronged. We have been betrayed by partners, overlooked by bosses, misunderstood by parents, and let down by friends. It is entirely human to feel anger and pain when these things happen. However, it becomes deeply problematic when we build an identity around our wounds and refuse to let them go. Sincero highlights that holding on to anger is one of the most effective ways to keep your energetic frequency in the basement, thereby blocking any new, positive experiences from entering your life. The ego loves drama. It thrives on being right and making others wrong. When we replay a painful memory in our minds for the 100th time, rehearsing what we should have said or fantasizing about revenge, the ego gets a massive hit of self-righteous satisfaction. But this satisfaction is a dangerous illusion. Every time you focus on a past hurt, your body responds biologically and energetically as if the trauma is happening right now. You flood your system with stress hormones, you tense your muscles, and you project a dense, negative vibration out into the universe. You are essentially allowing the person who hurt you in the past to continue renting space in your head, free of charge, in the present moment. Forgiveness is widely misunderstood. Many people mistakenly believe that to forgive someone means to condone their bad behavior, to invite them back into your life, or to pretend that the hurt never happened. This misconception causes people to hold on to their anger as a form of self-protection. But forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with the other person. Forgiveness is a deeply personal, internal process of releasing your own energetic attachment to the pain. It is the conscious decision to say, I am no longer going to allow this past event to dictate my present happiness. You can fully forgive someone while simultaneously setting strict boundaries and never speaking to them again. The process of letting go often requires us to look for the hidden lessons within our painful experiences. While we would never consciously choose to be hurt, every difficult situation provides a profound opportunity for growth. Perhaps a brutal breakup taught you what you truly value in a relationship and forced you to develop independence. Perhaps being fired from a job you hated gave you the push you needed to start your own business. When you can shift your perspective from, why did this happen to me, to what is this trying to teach me? You instantly strip the event of its negative power. You transform your pain into wisdom. Sometimes the person we need to forgive the most is ourselves. We carry immense guilt for the mistakes we have made, the opportunities we have squandered, and the people we have hurt. We beat ourselves up endlessly for not knowing better, but punishing yourself for past ignorance does not serve you or the world. You have to realize that you were always doing the best you could with the awareness, emotional maturity, and tools you had at that specific time. Self-forgiveness means acknowledging your mistakes, making amends if possible, and then giving yourself the grace to move forward with a clean slate. A practical way to release these heavy emotions is to actively process them rather than suppressing them. Sincero suggests exercises like writing a completely unfiltered, angry letter to the person who hurt you, pouring out every ounce of venom and rage onto the paper. You do not send this letter. Instead, you burn it or tear it into tiny pieces. As you watch the paper turn to ash, you visualize the emotional ties between you and that person dissolving. You must make a firm, conscious decision to drop the drama. Refuse to participate in gossip, stop complaining about how unfair life is, and actively redirect your focus toward what is good and beautiful in your current reality. By clearing out the toxic debris of resentment, you create massive emotional and energetic space for miracles to enter. Point 6. Break through your wealth thermostat. Your bank account is simply a reflection of your deeply held beliefs about money and your own worthiness. Shattering your financial ceiling requires a radical shift in how you view abundance. For many people, money is a highly emotionally charged topic wrapped in layers of anxiety, guilt, and confusion. We live in a society that simultaneously worships wealth and demonizes the wealthy. Jen Sincero devotes significant attention to the concept of money because financial struggle is one of the most common ways people stunt their own potential. If you want to live a truly limitless life, you have to heal your relationship with money and give yourself permission to be rich. The first step in transforming your financial reality is uncovering your subconscious wealth thermostat. Just as a thermostat regulates the temperature in a room, your subconscious mind regulates your income based on what it believes is safe and appropriate. If your thermostat is set to $50,000 a year and you suddenly inherit $20,000, your subconscious mind will panic. It will compel you to make poor investments, overspend, or suddenly encounter an emergency expense that drains the exact amount you gained, returning you to your comfortable, familiar baseline. To make more money and keep it, you must fundamentally reprogram your internal thermostat to normalize wealth. This reprogramming requires confronting the toxic cultural narratives we have internalized about money. We are often taught that money is the root of all evil, that rich people are greedy or superficial, and that there is a certain nobility in poverty. Spiritual or deeply empathetic people often struggle the most with this, believing that wanting money is somehow unspiritual or selfish. But this is a massive misunderstanding of what money actually is. Money is not inherently good or evil. It is simply neutral energy. It is a tool for exchange. If you are a good, kind, and generous person, having more money will simply amplify those traits, allowing you to do more good be more kind, and act more generously in the world. Poverty does not help anyone. You cannot feed the hungry, fund a charity, or fully support your family if you are constantly struggling to keep the lights on. Sincero shares her own profound struggles with money, recounting the days when she viewed wealth with a mix of disdain and deep longing. She realized that she was constantly repelling money by speaking about it negatively. Phrases like, "I cannot afford that," "money is so hard to make," or "I am just not good with finances," act as powerful spells that command the universe to keep you broke. To change your reality, you must change your vocabulary. Instead of saying you cannot afford something, ask yourself, how can I afford this? This simple shift moves your brain out of a state of passive defeat and into a state of active problem solving. You must also learn to respect money. If you treat money with contempt, ignoring your bills, stuffing crumpled dollar bills into your pockets, and constantly complaining about expenses, money will not want to hang around you. Treat money like a valued friend. Express gratitude when money enters your life, no matter how small the amount. Celebrate paying your bills as a demonstration of your ability to provide for yourself. Shift your focus from the fear of money leaving your account to the joyful expectation of money flowing into your life. Furthermore, breaking through your wealth ceiling requires you to step up and demand your true value in the marketplace. Whether you are an employee asking for a raise or an entrepreneur pricing your services, you must overcome the imposter syndrome that tells you you are not worth it. When you undercharge for your work, you breed resentment within yourself and signal to the universe that you do not value your own time and energy. You have to take the terrifying leap of asking for what you truly want, backing it up with excellent work, and refusing to apologize for your desire to prosper. Wealth is an inside job. Once you genuinely believe you deserve it, the external world will naturally adjust to compensate you. Point 7. Take massive action and surrender. Dreaming and vibrating at a high frequency will only get you so far if you refuse to move your feet. You must take terrifying leaps of faith and then completely surrender the outcome to the universe. There is a common trap in the world of personal development and the law of attraction. The belief that you can simply meditate on a pile of money or a dream house, never leave your couch, and magically watch it manifest. Jen Sincero is quick to dismantle this illusion. While aligning your energy is absolutely essential, the universe rewards action. You live in a physical world, and you must take physical steps to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Taking massive action rarely feels comfortable. In fact, if the action you are taking does not make you at least a little bit nauseous, your goal is probably not big enough. Growth happens exclusively outside of your comfort zone. This means you have to start doing things before you feel completely ready. Perfectionism is just procrastination dressed up in a tuxedo. If you wait until you have all the answers, the perfect website, or the exact right timing, you will wait forever. You have to be willing to stumble, make mistakes, and look foolish. Successful people are not those who never fail. They are those who are willing to fail fast, learn the lesson, and immediately try again. Sincero illustrates this with her own leap of faith when she decided to hire a high-level business coach. The coach's fee was significantly more money than she had in her bank account. It was a terrifying financial commitment, but by making that massive, scary investment, she sent a powerful shockwave through her own subconscious and out into the universe. She was no longer just wishing she could build a business. She had put her money where her mouth was. The sheer terror of the commitment forced her to hustle harder, think bigger, and show up more professionally than she ever had before. When you take bold action, you back the universe into a corner, and it responds by rising to meet your level of commitment. However, there is a delicate and crucial balance between relentless action and the art of surrender. Once you've done the heavy lifting, once you have made the phone calls, sent the emails, written the chapters, and put yourself out there, you must let go of how and when the results will arrive. This is often the hardest part for ambitious people. We want to control the timeline. We want to dictate exactly how our success should look. But when you micromanage the universe, you operate from a place of doubt and anxiety, which lowers your frequency and chokes off the flow of abundance. Surrender does not mean giving up or becoming passive. Surrender means having an unshakable faith that the universe has your back, even when things appear to be falling apart. Often, what looks like a rejection or a failure is actually the universe protecting you from a lesser path or redirecting you towards something infinitely better. If you lose a job or a deal falls through, your ego will scream that the sky is falling. True surrender is taking a deep breath and saying this or something better. It is trusting that the cosmic intelligence of the universe has a much wider vantage point than you do. To master this balance, you must stay intensely focused on your what and completely release the how. Your job is to know exactly what you want and to take inspired action every single day toward that vision. The universe's job is to figure out the logistics of how it will come to pass. When you let go of the need to control the mechanics of the manifestation, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. You allow the universe to surprise and delight you in ways your logical mind could never have engineered. Point 8. The conclusion. The journey to living a limitless life is not a one-time event, but a continuous daily practice of choosing growth over comfort. You possess an incredible power right now, and the world is desperately waiting for you to share it. As you reach the culmination of Sincero's philosophy, it becomes clear that being a badass is not a destination you arrive at, but a state of being you must continuously maintain. Just like taking a shower or brushing your teeth, the practices of self-love, energetic alignment, and overcoming fear require daily attention. If you stop doing the work, the gravity of your old habits and the negativity of the world will inevitably pull you back down. One of the most vital strategies for maintaining your new elevated frequency is fiercely curating your environment. You cannot live an extraordinary life if you are constantly surrounded by people who are committed to their own misery. Energy is contagious. If you spend your time with energetic vampires, people who complain constantly, gossip, and tear down the dreams of others, their low vibration will eventually drag you down. You must have the courage to set strict boundaries with toxic individuals, even if they are family members or old friends. Conversely, you must actively seek out and surround yourself with other badasses. When you immerse yourself in a community of people who are taking risks, thinking big, and supporting one another, your own growth will accelerate exponentially. It is also crucial to establish a daily routine that anchors your mindset. The moments immediately after you wake up and just before you go to sleep are when your subconscious mind is most receptive. Protect these times fiercely. Instead of reaching for your phone to consume the daily news or scroll through social media, use this quiet time to connect with your vision. Incorporate practices like meditation, which helps quiet the frantic chatter of the big snooze and connects you to source energy. Write in a gratitude journal to set your frequency to abundance. Read books or listen to podcasts that inspire you and challenge your intellect. Small, consistent daily disciplines compound over time, creating massive shifts in your reality. As you step boldly into your greatness, you must also prepare yourself for the inevitable setbacks. You will have days where you feel entirely inadequate. You will fall off the wagon, make poor decisions, and let your fear dictate your actions. When this happens, do not use it as an excuse to spiral into self-loathing. Recognizing that you have slipped is actually a sign of your expanded awareness. The difference between a badass and someone who stays stuck is simply recovery time. Forgive yourself quickly, laugh at your own human clumsiness, and immediately get back on track. Your journey is a spiral upward, not a perfectly straight line. Ultimately, the core message of You Are a Badass is a profound reminder of your own agency. You are the author of your life story. You have the ability to rewrite the script at any moment. The universe is infinitely abundant, and there is more than enough love, wealth, joy, and success to go around. You do not need anyone's permission to claim your share of it. You simply need to decide that you are worthy, silence the voices of doubt, and step fully into the radiant, powerful being you were always meant to be. The world does not benefit from your playing small. Your greatness is not just a gift to yourself, it is a gift to everyone you encounter. So take a deep breath, trust the universe, and go out there and create the magnificent life you deserve.
Thank you.